call that good. All right, so pick a space, any space, wherever you're at. Allow your feet to touch. Bring your hands together in the center. Relax your entire body. Take a deep breath. And let's start with some breathing. Let's actually do something a little bit different today. We're going to start with this exercise, breathing exercise. We've done it before. This one where we're turning around here. This is a very old Qigong, and the name for this one is, the nickname for it is the teacup exercise, teacup Qigong. And so imagine that you have a teacup or some other type of cup filled with your favorite beverage, your favorite liquid, and that you're holding it in your palm, face up, and that you want to keep it face up the entire time without spilling any of them, without spilling any of it. And so meanwhile, the whole time, we want to try to keep the spine straight. If you can take it over your head, that's fine. And we also, as little as we can, we want to minimize raising. It's very easy to keep my palm face up this way if my shoulder is raised. So we want to keep the shoulder down. Is it possible to keep the elbow below the wrist when we do this? So all of the same Tai Chi ideas, all of the same Tai Chi principles. So you can go at your own pace. You can time the inhales going up, the exhales going down, or you can make one inhale for the whole thing and an exhale for the other side. Keep the neck and the spine straight. Keep your tailbone relaxed. In fact, try making this one a little bit smaller, because what happens is, see if it's way out here, see how the alignment for this arm is. Whereas if it's here, this, just like the Tai Chi form, we can make a very large circle, and we can shift from one side to the other. But we can also make this very small. So it depends on what you like to achieve. If you like to stretch, or if you like martial arts and you like to practice some push hands activity where you're, or something in between, the balance, the yin and yang of the yoga and the fighting. Do one more on each side, long breathing. Then, when you're done, bring everything back to the center. Allow your feet to touch. Line everything up. We're going to calibrate, and then we're going to do just a little bit of stretching before we do some Tai Chi. So, from here, from the top down, imagine that in your mind you can activate your crown chakra. What does that feel like? It's at the top, slightly back from, if you feel the center point, and then the energy is moving up. So imagine you can turn the crown chakra on and activate it. What does that feel like? And then next, relax the brow. If you can imagine wiggling your ears, your eyebrows, to loosen up all the skin on your forehead, the sides of your head. Open your vision. If you open your eyes to 101%, just slightly open, you'll feel also your brow, your eyebrow relax a little bit. Open your nostrils sideways, open your sinuses internally. You can feel the inside of your face. So when you're breathing, if you let that face open and expand, you can take in more air. When the tongue is connected to the roof of the mouth, you should feel your throat open, as if it's easier to take in oxygen. I use the term let your shoulders roll back and relax, but we want to make sure that they're not curled forward, and we also want to make sure that they're not this way. They're in the correct position for balance. We need to find what that is. And by keeping the neck straight, this point right in the back of the head, and this point at the top of the spine, as if you're pulling this one back and up. This means the chin is tucked. We can elongate the spine a little bit more by lifting this way, but we want to keep this straight. The chest is hollow. I use that term because that's what's written in the Tai Chi classics. My teacher, Master Yun, says there's as if a tunnel is going through just above the heart chakra and coming through the back so the energy can travel. The shoulders are relaxed, and there's a space in the armpit. So we want the arms relaxed. If you see people practicing Tai Chi Harmony, in the beginning when people show up, they have like this. But eventually, if you see my teacher towards the end, so relaxed, everything, the elbows, the wrists, the shoulders, so that this is almost resting against the body. And when it is, there's a little bit of expansion here, so you should feel a space. Keep the base of the palms connected, fingertips resting. In fact, if you can let the whole of your arms relax offline. We're using the center to support, so we're engaging the abs just a little tiny bit, and then allowing the lower back to both open vertically and then horizontally as well. So the whole thing, lower back is rounded. This creates the feeling of the tailbone is hiding. Another thing that you can do is you can practice, imagine that you can move your tailbone. When you see a dog and they're very happy, they wag their tail. Sometimes they do when they're nervous. The same. Try to, while we're standing, you can move the tailbone left and right. Pull it forwards and back. And when you have the sensation, the good feeling of the tailbone, imagine that the line is pointing down towards your toes. So there's this narrow angle that comes from the tailbone to the toes. If you relax your tailbone and activate the toes, you can pretty much take your legs offline. It'll feel like the front is folding in. It'll feel like the knees have a small bend in them. The ankles should feel strong. And the heels, while they're sitting on the ground, almost feel like they're lifting. Because the tailbone sitting down connected to the toes makes the legs form a cantilever. You feel it if you feel it. Right? So, and then also activating the toes the same way we use the stomach. We don't want to have a super powerful clawing. We can do that at various times, but we want to just have it activated somewhere between completely relaxed and engaged with the muscle. So while we're breathing, while we're doing the Tai Chi, while we're doing all of this stuff, you want to be trying to keep all of those same principles so that we're not turning and twisting and contorting, but instead we can keep the same kind of upright posture. Let's stretch, and we're going to warm up a little bit more after we stretch, but in the beginning, from Tai Chi Harmony, keeping the lower body locked in place so that from my belt line, from my hips down, I want to keep locked, and then I'm turning the upper body. So turn your lower back, your mid-back, your shoulders, your neck, your head, and then the eyes continuing to turn, and the breath leading, and then coming back to the center. We're going to do a bunch of these, so take your time. You can time it with the breathing, but you don't have to. Turning. So stretch the body. Imagine that like a dish rag or a wash rag or a towel that you want to twist, and then coming back to the center. We lock the lower body to protect the knees. So if you find yourself turning and you feel strain on the knees, you can free one heel and continue to turn. Grip the feet, breathing deep, look all the way. I've mentioned the purpose of this so that you can work more on it on your own. Some exercises we just practice, and you can feel immediately the stretch. For this one, imagine that you want to wring out your spine, that you can, the tendons from the top of your head down through your feet, that you want to twist them to stretch them. Keep your hands in front of the sternum to prevent pushing too much. Remember the same long breathing that we started with. And we're going to do one more on each side, so take your time it out. And then we got to do the other side, balance it, same amount on either side. And then coming back to the center. So we're going to call that the stretch for most of the body. I do want to do some stretching with the legs, this kind of reaching. But before we do that, we're going to do another Qigong. Because we're practicing in the evening, we're going to do the workout first and then have everything become more relaxed later. On Saturdays in the morning, a lot of times we're building. So we start from very static and we do this kind of breathing. It's very relaxed and we stretch more and more. And we work up to doing a bunch of Tai Chi. In the evening, we should work out a whole bunch and then practice slower and eventually relax. Just the same way that you live your day. When you wake up in the morning, we don't start a rigorous activity right away. And in the evening, the same thing. We finish all of our activity, and then just like the sun setting, everything settles. So we want to follow the same pattern. So to build some energy, and then also to activate the meridians, we're going to use the thumb and the big toe, like you're pushing down into the ground, and then breathing, let everything relax. And then the index finger and the index toe. Breathing. So you go at your own pace, but working your way across, activate one finger and one toe. Long breathing. I know it's a challenge because isolating each toe in the foot is not easy. Pinky finger, pinky toe, breathing. And then I'm lifting my toes. If you watch the video, I'm exaggerating. So when they're coming up, all the toes are relaxed, middle finger and middle toe. And the thumb and big toe using power, breathing. And then when we do index finger, index toe, like you're pushing into the ground, trying to activate a button or a switch. So put power all the way into the fingertip, all the way into the toes. You can go at your own pace because this one we can time with the breathing. I'm inhaling on the way up and then exhaling on the way down. So going back across, thumb, big toe, pushing down, and then releasing all the fingers and toes. Index finger, index toe. Use power. Everything's relaxed. Middle finger, middle toe, pushing into the ground. Ring finger, ring toe. Pinky finger, pinky toe. And then working back across. Use power. You can use power on the fingertips too, as if you're leading something with the tip of the finger. Middle finger, middle toe. Everything's relaxed. Index finger, index toe. And after we do the thumb on this last one, we're going to do all the fingers and all the toes. So breathing, we're going to increase, let everything relax, increasing the power with time. Full inhale, Full exhale. More power, more speed. Activate the fingers and the toes, gripping the ground. Last two. And then let everything relax. Bring your feet together. Bring your hands together in the center. And then let the energy settle. Let everything travel back to the center. Breathing deep. We're going to turn a little bit at the waist. So take a comfortable stance and just turning. Keep your hips and your jawline stable. When we do any of these kind of exercises where the energy is bouncing, we want to prevent the energy from going up into the head top. So if you watch, if I leave my structure is not so powerful, my head can wobble. You may see, especially if I use a power, my head top's doing this, right? So we want to keep it. You should be able to generate a lot of power without having the energy go up in the head top. So the next one, we're just going to do two of these, turning up over the shoulder, still looking forward, breathing deep. Send your hands on vacation. Let everything relax. Turning the heel. Protect your knee. Knees are always lined up with the toes and the hips. Long breathing. And then next, also to loosen up the structure. This one is especially important. When we do this kind of drumming, it has this hit, or if we do this bouncing that has this loose movement, we want to try to minimize the amount of movement that's happening up in the head. So we'll do the bouncing first, right? So if you just bounce, so relax your tailbone, grip your feet, push your head top up, and imagine, this one is like, keep working, this one is like, imagine you have a towel, right? And you take the top of the towel and you shake the towel this way. I can keep the top of the towel very stable and allow a lot of the activity to happen at the base. The same thing when you're bouncing. Try to keep the head top very stable and let everything else underneath it relax. And then we're going to do some with some power. So to practice, in Mandarin, in the Chinese, there's an expression that defines when we're emitting power. And in Chinese it's called Fa Jing. And the word in Mandarin, Jing, means power. It means like a force. And the word Fa means like to display or to show something. So Fa Jing is like a demonstration of power. And so we can use this to practice. Normally in Tai Chi, one of the purposes for Tai Chi is saving the Fa Jing. So if I'm practicing a push, I want to practice the perfect push where I can send a very, very heavy object, maybe several times my size and weight, very far away. If I don't show the Fa Jing, it just looks like a very slow motion type movement. But if I want a Fa Jing, if I want to show the power, right, we can exhibit that type of power. And we don't always recommend it because with Qigong we're trying to save, to conserve the Qi, to build it without losing it. But we do have to practice that power. So we can use it as part of our warm-up and part of our stretching. Imagine you have something and you're going to turn it and press onto the drum. And once we reach that point of where everything has the tension, it's completely relaxed. So we reach purpose and then it's relaxed after that. So breathing, inhale, and then there's one point, like a hit on the drum. And try to feel the bounce. Don't let the vibration go back up into the head. So long inhale. And then, just like you have power, right to the surface of the drum. so if I do it in slow motion, my hands moving very, very fast, and as soon as they hit, they go to a state of relaxation. There's some recoil. So kind of like on this one, the hands bouncing, there's this overlap. The same thing, we're only tense for the one particular moment, this moment of strike. This is also true with the Tai Chi. By the way, addressing this, in Tai Chi, our punches are hollow. So we want to be able to see through them. And you can imagine sword fingers, 1 to 2 fingers, inside the fist has a hollow space. And the reason is that we don't keep it compressed or hold something in the middle. We leave it open for the same reason when we're punching somebody. The punch is only contracted at the moment of impact, and then from there it relaxes. So we're going to practice another exercise in the future, which is practicing allowing that power. But for here, we want to slow things down and practice the correct Fajin. There's impact and then complete relaxation. So breathing, filling with energy. It's a hit and release, yeah. And at the moment of impact, you see my hands. My elbows aren't back here. I'm keeping them out here. So imagine if we talk about having a drum. The drum is in front of you, and you have to use your palms to hit the surface of the drum this way. Don't let the fingertips go forward. We're pressing straight down, right? So when you turn, almost like you're keeping your fingertips pointing towards each other and the palm down the whole time. So long breathing, and then you may have to, if you look down when you're doing this, if your fingertips are going forward, you may have to turn your elbows out to the side. So that looks better, right, for everybody. And then also, try not to necessarily, this is kind of weird, it's a little abstract. Instead of using power, just push, so that there's just one moment of impact. Because otherwise, we do this, right? Yes, that actually looks better when it's relaxed. And so, like in the Tai Chi, if we just press this way, this is using the arms. But if we keep the elbows out to the side, we have this expanded feeling. And what that allows for is this expanded feeling is if we have to deal with something else, and there's a push here, right? If I just try to use my arms, you can actually watch my torso moves away from the thing, right? And my arms only like this. But if I use my whole body, right, using the same kind of breathing with the impact, so like you're hitting something. Have the palms, fingertips facing each other. In fact, breathing, when you come up to the center, allow the middle fingers to touch here, and then turn the palms and press straight down the front. That's it, even without doing the power, right? So even to here, try to keep your fingertips connected. That's good. Breathing. Inhale all the way up. Connect the fingertips, and then like it's on a level, like you're pushing something that's flat all the way down to the flat part. And then once it hits the flats, the wrist just relax. So breathing, bring the hands up, set them on the flat level board on the surface, and then pressing all the way down. Keep the palms flat. Good. By the way, this is the same as if when you get out of the swimming pool, right? If you ever have to climb out of the swimming pool and there's no ladder or there's no steps to walk out or climb out of, imagine this is the edge of the pool and I'm swimming around in the pool. We use this kind of activity, and we may kick the legs, but in this one. So imagine you could propel yourself up out of the water like a dolphin. There's another activity this is used for. If any of you have ever been rock climbing, when you're a little kid and you like to climb around on top of things, or you see little kids climbing, if there's a place where you can't get your feet, you have to climb up on top of something, right? This movement is called mantling. It's like just on a fireplace, they have a mantle, so you use the mantle to push yourself up. We're using it to demonstrate Fajin, so we can use it as a stretch. We can use it to open the body. The same principle is true when we're doing the push in Tai Chi. Here we have a keyboard, right? It's a wireless keyboard. And imagine that my hands are bolted to the keyboard this way. So when I'm pushing in Tai Chi, my hands staying connected as if they're connected to this board. We're using this concept to push on the opponent because we're always going to connect to them. If we just connect with one, if I have a keyboard here and that's my opponent, and I want to push on them, if I push with this side, you see what's going to happen. They're going to turn. In fact, if it's here and I push, they may actually hit me, right? So if we use both hands, we can push here. And if one side tries to squirm, we can control it with the other. This is why when we have the pushes in this class, it looks like the hands are connected, because they are. Because we're either going to be pushing on somebody's arm, their shoulder, their torso, their side, their hips. We're going to push the person somehow this way, and we use both hands to steer. So if you imagine like they're bolted together onto the keyboard when we do the push, because today we're going to work on some of the basics. So the same thing when we're doing this kind of breathing exercise, keep the hands connected. Let's do a little bit of leg stretching and then we're going to do Tai Chi. Push one leg forward, make the knee, hip, and foot lined up. Push your tailbone back and away, breathing deep. Reach forward. You can use the supporting leg for balance. Remember to breathe. Either pushing your heel towards your chin, pushing your chin towards your toe, or pushing your crown chakra towards the toe. Whether you keep the chin up or down is a matter of comfort. Remember to breathe, stretching on your own. We're going to stand up and change on the other side. Grip the ground. Push your tailbone back and away. Reaching out, reach forward. Whether you keep the chin tucked or you push the chin towards the toe, either way, stretch. Remember to breathe while you're stretching. It's a stretch because we're pushing it a little bit more every time. Change, come back to the center. Remember to breathe standing. We're going to do one more on each side this time. Do some hitting. So grip your standing foot. Push your tailbone away. Get yourself balanced. Breathing deep. Use as much power as you need. And then on your own, breathing to stand up, we're going to change. Try the other side. Grip the ground. Push one foot forward. Tailbone goes away. Reaching, and then once you hit the stretch, tapping up the back of the leg. And then when you're ready, standing up on your own, take a deep breath. Let's do some Tai Chi. We have time. I'd like to practice all three sections. We have about 25 minutes. I'd like to go a little bit slower, but I have a feeling we're going to move through it. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about, I want to do some either brush knee press or the basic push and press on G, because this is what we're working on in the other Tai Chi classes. So pick a space that's your center and allow your feet to touch. Bring your head top up to the highest point. We don't have the second camera today. That's life. Relax your tailbone. Take a deep breath. Bring your hands together in the center for Tai Chi Harmony. And then just to check, go from the top to the bottom. Internally, you can learn to scan your body. Feel the crown chakra is all the way up. Feel the face and brow are relaxed. The nostrils are open. The tongue is connected to the upper palate. Chin is tucked. The neck is straight. The shoulders and torso are in the right place. Shoulders, elbows, and wrists are all open and relaxed. Feel that there's power going to the fingertips and the head top. The center is supporting and strong, so the whole back can open, both sinking down and pushing energy up to the top. The lower body's in the right place, gripping the feet, activating the feet. We're going to open, shoulder width wide. Sink the tailbone, hands are floating. And then sinking into Tai Chi, Chi Chi. This is the start of Tai Chi. Breathing deep. This is grasp the sparrow's tail. Stepping forward. Ward off. Breathing again. This is left grasp the sparrow's tail. Square step forward. Ward off. Timed with the breathing. Inhale, turning. Exhale, turning back to the north. This is press. Push. Look left. Glance right. Gather the energies, just like we talked about with the push. Horizontal split hands. Turn the feet. Diaosho is hook. Square step forward. Single whip. Turning back to the north. This is Tiso. Songshi. Means lift hands to up posture. Square step. Brush. Roll up. Turning 90 degrees to the west. This is Bai Hu. Sub. Crane. Opening the wings. Sowe, Pipa. Play the harp. Brush knee. Press to the center. Square step back. This is crane. Opening the wings. Play the harp. Sowe, Pipa. Brush knee. Press to the center. Holding the moon and the chest, brush off. The left hand covers the right side, moving forward like a wheel. Ban Lan Shui. Corner. Open. Punch. Ru Feng Si Bi. Turning. Press once. Twice. Facing the north, this is return tiger to mountain. Bring the feet together. Left foot forms a T. Right foot steps back to the square facing south. Yeah, you'll be facing the other direction. It's all right. Take a deep breath, roll back. Join the palms to press. Push. Look left, glance right, double press. Horizontal split hands. We're facing east. Diaosho is hook. Turn back to look at the moon, turning 180. Left hand blocks. Right hand covers. Left hand spear fist through the center. Moving backwards, this is repulse the monkey, breathing. Left side moves back, right side press. Breathing, repulse the monkey, number 2. Scoop. The right side moves back, left side. Press, breathing, repulse the monkey, number 3. Scoop. Left side opens, right side, center. Very good. Opening to the side, this is Sherfei. To my right side. Diagonal flying is like a ward off. Needle at the bottom of the sea. Facing forward, neck is straight. Santong Bei. Turning. Block. Punch. Kick. Square step. Lan is parry. Shui is punch. Facing forward, head top is level. Di Bu Hua. Shang Bu Li. Change step, roll back. Keep your spine upright. Breathing deep, long, natural breathing. Press. Push. Look left. Glance right. Double press. Everybody's got it very good. Horizontal split hook. This is a side whip. We're parallel to east and west, facing the north. This is cloud hands in the second section. Right, press, breathing. Turn left, step and press. On the other side, press, breathing. Step and press. One more on each side. Press. Step and press. The owl show is hook. Corner whip, we're turning our square 90 degrees to face west. And this is pat the tall horse. So reaching over the top, turn. 1, Gao Tan Ma, number 2, facing south. Turn, and then we're going to turn to the east. Scoop, brush, press to the center. Square step. Long breathing. Facing forward, turn. Lo Shi, Ao Bu, Kanchong. And then one more. This is brush knee, straight step. Punch. Turning 180. Block. Punch. Kick. Square step. Lungs open. Shui. This is called Zhou Hua. Left deflect. Kick. Da Li is big roll back. Keep your spine and your neck upright. Turning 180. Embrace the tiger. Da Li is another roll back. Scoop the moon from the ocean. Kick. Brush. Air phone, Guan air. Stepping back. Pull with the left hand. Kick with the left foot. Turning. 1, 2, 3. Pull with the right hand. Kick with the right foot. Block. Punch. Kick. Lan is open. Shui. Punch. Breathing. Rufeng. Press. Press. We're turning 90 to the north. This is return tiger to mountain, continuing to the third section. Bring the feet together. T-step or kobu. Square step, palm press to the center. Taking a deep breath to roll back. Join the palms, this is press. Breathing deep, push. Zogu is look left. Yo pan, glance right. Shuang an, double press. Horizontal split, we're turning to the east. Good. Hook. Side whip, still facing east the whole time. And this is wild horse parting its mane. The right side sinks and then comes up through the center, moves forward, square. Wild horse number 2. Left hip and shoulder sink. Coming up, out, expanding square. Breathing again. Right side sinks. Wild horse number 3. And then breathing deep, this is roll back. Press. Push. Look left. Glance right. Double press. Horizontal split. hook. This is side whip. We're parallel. We're facing north. And this is the beginning of 4 corners. So we're starting going northeast. Avoid, make contact, advance. Turning, look first, then step, and then press. Corner number 3, southwest. Avoid, make contact, advance. 4th corner, turning. We're going to turn back to the east, facing directly east, left grasp the sparrow's tail. Right press to the corner, facing forward, press right to the center, and then breathing deep. This is a regular push. Look left, glance right, double press. Horizontal, split hands. Hook. This is a corner whip. We're facing west. And this is the first snake creeping down. And when we return, it's Jinchi Duli on the right. Breathing deep, open, standing on the right side, Jinchi Duli on the left. And we go straight into repulse the monkey. Left side retracts, right side expands. Breathing deep. Pull your right hand back to the body. Push your left hand forward to the center. Breathing. Scoop. Retract. Press forward. Opening to the side. This is share fade, just like the second section where we have the shoulder bump and expansion, except now here the left hand and right foot go forward. Sanpong Bei. Block. Punch, kick, square step, open, focus, power to the center, deep Wuhua, keep your head top upright, change levels, breathe for natural rollback, press to the center. Double press. Horizontal. Split hands. Hook. Side whip, we're facing the north. This is cloud hands in the 3rd section. Press. Turning. Press. And step. Press. Step. And press. One more on each side. Press. Turning, step, and press. Hook. Corner whip, we're facing west. And here we continue the waist turn, shifting back. This is snake, flashes its tongue. Turn 180. Pull with the right side, kick right. Cross kick. Step square. Brush. Punch, half fold knees, change step, breathe deep, roll back. Press forward, push, look left, glance right, double press. Horizontal split. Almost there. Hook. Turning to the west. This is the second. Snake creeps down. Sorry, this hook and whip. And now snake creeps down. Stepping up to 7 stars. Turning. 184. Hua Hu. Turning another. 180. Bai Lian. Wong Gong, circle is open the bow to shoot a tiger, block, punch, kick, square step forward. Breathing deep, focus the power, still facing the west, brush off, pressing once, twice. Return tiger to mountain. Block right and left. Bring everything back to the center. Take a deep breath. How do you feel? Something. Your body feels good, but the mind is frustrated because there's so much crazy stuff to follow along, especially when we're not facing the same direction. I want to work on something today for those of you that have studied with me in the past that we have taken out from this form is brush, knee, press. There's only 2 of them that remain because of the space. And we're going to do an exercise today, so if you have a little bit of space, we're just going to practice brush, knee, press. Unless, of course, does anyone have questions, thoughts, comments, ideas, something that you're working on? Because if not, we're just going to spend time working on brush, knee, press. And what I want to do is combine all the things we talk about when we're in Tai Chi Harmony with brush, knee, press. So keeping the structure, where the power is going, all that. So pick one direction or the other. In fact, I'm going to actually face this way. You can travel in any direction that you like, but just so you can see, I'm standing. I have a posture that has 1 foot up, 1 foot down, and 1 hand up, 1 hand down. They're opposites. My opposite hand and foot are up, and then the opposite hand and foot are down. And so once I'm here, I change and press. I'm going to clear and turn my body. My power is still going forward. The hands in sync. One is going down and the other is coming up. And as they're changing, the foot is changing as well. And then I step forward to press. And then the same thing. I'm going to open this foot because I'm transitioning forward. As I step, the hands are changing. One is coming down, the other is going up. Stepping forward to press. Open the foot, grip the ground. Changing. Press. Open. Yin-yang switch. Press forward. Open. Yin-yang switch. Press forward. Is it easier to see when we break it down? I'm going to do something going in this direction now, the same. And by the way, I'm making this very linear, right? I'm making both the action, my posture is very straight, very linear. As a note, the feet, you can see the feet in this Tai Chi form. Some teachers say keep the heel very close to the ground. Some is very pointed. In this particular posture for the C-step, it's not that important as much as it is free. And there's a name for this posture when you have it's not an empty step. Empty step means there's only 10%. This one we can still use for balance, but it's as if we're trying to keep it off the ground. My teacher calls it, crows are cold in the winter, ravens freezing in the winter. Because they're cold, they like it warm, they only want to put 1 foot in the snow. The other foot, they only keeping in case they need to fly, right? So this other foot is here. So when we do brush knee, this other foot is actually touching the ground, but it's ready to be active. Let's try a few more. Keeping everything straight. Try to keep all the same Tai Chi principles. Square step. Press to the center. Breathing. I'm looking forward. Opening my foot. Gripping the foot. Step forward. Press. Turning. Press. I'm trying to make this a 1-2. 1, 2. 1, 2. But there is one thing that we have to do in the interim, which is open the foot. Because in this form, remember, as a yoga, we're keeping the feet lined up as parallel. But when I do this, I'm opening the foot, my legs come together, I step square, and then this one turns. And then the same, I'm opening this one, I bring them together, I step square, and this one can turn. And this is, question, yeah, go ahead.
Then you angle out, or is it? It to begin with, and then you're angling it out.
Let's look at what it is. So my feet, I want to keep them square. If I close it up to 45, I can actually still have my power go forward, but it's slightly more secure. If my foot is here, it's difficult to see because I have dark pants on. I don't know if I can get a reflection from the light, but if my feet are parallel this way, right? If something comes into the center, it's going to rebound into my center. But if I close this, you can actually look down. If you make your feet on the grid, and then you take your whole leg and you just close it 45. Even a small amount, even 15 degrees, something that comes in here now is going to rebound in a different way. So we can close that quite a bit and still feel safe. If it's open, the same thing, only to about 45. Once it goes beyond 45, we start to, the power is very, very scattered. So there's some advanced anatomy that we're using for this. For Charlotte, if you're in Master Yoon's class, we have been practicing, if you have this square step, is just shifting the hips along that square. Which means when we go to open, when I'm here, if I'm going in that direction, when he says jajing, this is pulling this hip back and this hip forward so that I'm scissor kicking the legs, right? To get power from inside the legs. So I'm not just like this, but instead each step feels like I'm pulling into the center, stepping out, and then I'm bringing all of that into the center, right? So this outward thing, if it looks weird, I'm actually bringing all of this up to close it. And then when I step here, this is okay. I can still make power here. But if I want to focus my power, see how I can turn my foot, especially for a punch. And whether I turn from the heel or whether I turn from the toe, here I'm turning on the ball and pushing my heel backwards. This one, I'm turning from the heel forward. Right? There's variances on that. Let's continue. Let's do some more brush knee press. I'll face the other direction. I'll do some going in this direction as well. So the C step is stepping behind somebody, something pressing forward. And then when I'm opening, I open the foot, but I close the legs so that there's a structural power, and then press. Open. This opens, but then these two legs going together. Press. Open, and then bring your once this is open, bring your kneecaps together. In the Bagua, in Li Ziming's book, he refers to this technique as cricket rubbing their legs, grasshopper rubbing their legs together, right? So you know the old Kung Fu TV show, the master called his pupil, he says, grasshopper son, right? So the same, this technique always applying, whether it's Bagua, Tai Chi, anything, the best is when we can keep these. When we're doing circle walking, my knees touching the whole time, right? The same thing, anytime we can keep that gate closed, rubbing with the rubbing technique. So the same on this, once we close. The C step, by the way, is getting inside somebody's gate. So if we have somebody standing and we like to attack their center, right? I'm going to use a chair for this particular example. The C step, the gate for the chair is here if somebody's standing there. The C step is, I want to step inside their gate so I can compromise their structure using my leg. And then once it's like that, I can very easily push it around, right? So in the Chinese, the name for that is called Aobu, which means twist step, as if the step is twisting into the center. And then we can pry bar it as such, right? Some of you have seen that. It's easier to teach in person. Questions, thoughts, comments, ideas? Yes, cool. Let's do some Qigong to close. We have just a minute left. In fact, let's do what we just practicing a second ago. We're going to use the push exercise as a qigong. So take whichever direction you're facing, make a square step. So it's shoulder width wide, and then one foot or the other is shoulder width deep. And then try to keep your hips and jaw facing in that same square. And then breathing, we're going to make some circles. So I want you to use your whole body, as if when you bring the circle back, it's all sinking down into the feet, and as it comes up, it's coming up through the whole body. It doesn't matter which direction you go, forwards or backwards if you like to push over the top, or if you like to push from underneath. Either way, I want you to try to use your whole body and try to keep the Tai Chi ideas that we had talked about. So we're using this as our closing qigong. I want you to inflate your body. If you're bringing the energy back this way, imagine you're inflating and compressing the chi to the base. And if it's the other way, imagine you're filling the chi up and then squashing it down. Either way is okay. And then make the wave of activity inside of your body more detailed. Grip your rear foot. Grip your front foot. And then changing between the two. You can turn the palms. I'm turning my palms on this axis. But you could also, as if you're just holding the two sides of a globe or a barrel or a ball, you can keep them in line this way. You can, like you're pushing something down and out, scooping it in, pushing down. Either way, whatever way you like to practice. And then if you turn, try the other side, switching, recoiling to one foot, shifting to the other. Make the breathing as long and relaxed as you can, and you can time it. In this class, when we do Tai Chi, when we do Qigong, a lot of times we want the movement to be very even, very balanced, perfectly symmetrical, like a Tai Chi symbol. But if we're pushing something very heavy, or if we want to push something away very quickly, we may change the timing. So on this circle, now that we've been practicing the circle on both sides for a little bit, you can imagine adding the power that we had before when we talked about somewhere along the circle, you can send the power out. And only for 1 second. Once the power goes out, relax. And then just try some in the center if we're facing, if we just have horse stance without having a square step shifting between the front and the back. If I'm just having this kind of, as if it's coming up the body and going back down the body without shifting forwards or backwards, just up and down. We're going to slow down. Even though we're slowing down, don't change the amount of breathing. Take in the same amount of oxygen. As if the chi, by inflating the body, reduces the movement. So the more inflated you feel, the less movement there is. So keep working, keep breathing until you feel your joints expanding. Until you can reach a point where you're stable. See if you can feel your hands across the space and you feel the distance. You feel the energy. Breathing deep Imagine using just the smallest amount of power you can, pushing all that energy into your center. Imagine like you're pushing sand or some very small particles. The slower and more concise you are, the more of it you can get to the space. And bring the feet together. Bring the hands together in the center. We're going to move the mind into 3 different locations. First in the Dantian, the lower central chakra, the belly button. Take a second internally, smiling to yourself to give thanks. You have a body that's capable of learning this kind of kinetic motion, Tai Chi, moving the energy. Breathing deep, move your mind up to the center, to the heart chakra, in the center of your chest. This one is, the center chakra is designed for sound. So internally you can make a vibration, thank you to your heart, something like that. Breathing. And then move your mind up to the center of the third eye, this chakra up top, dealing with light vibration, visible frequency. So inside, you can imagine seeing yourself giving thanks to yourself instead of just hearing it. Make a gesture, smiling to yourself internally, breathing. And then one more time, move your consciousness all the way up to the top, to the crown chakra. And imagine a bright white light. Imagine everything in that bright white light is supporting the rest of the body, that's moving upwards, everything hanging from it. Take a deep breath, smiling. And that's it. Let's hope that we can get this Wednesday thing sorted out. Sorry about Saturday. I had a slew of technical problems, and some of them still hanging around tonight. So if you have questions, thoughts, comments, if you ever want to work on something, I know this form, because we're turning around so much, can be very frustrating. We can work on things anytime that you want. So just email me, call me. I'd like to get another session like this midweek Wednesday night thing that we're doing to work out. And it's still the middle of winter, so I see some of you working outside, going outside for a long time. My teacher says avoid the cold and especially the wind the way that you would avoid arrows. So protect yourself. Don't get sick, especially in this time. Have a great night. Call if you need anything. Thank you.